And then West Ham are believed to be open to new investment from potential bidders. Obviously, they've got a few different people that are invested in the club already. How, how much could the club be worth, and if someone was to try and invest?
Yeah, I mean it's hard to value them. I think it's hard to see how it would be worth more than say Newcastle. So Newcastle, I mean, what's Newcastle worth today? It was bought for about 350 million quid. What's it worth today? I mean, I don't know, maybe a billion, maybe just under. A lot of it is about the value of the two things for West Ham: the London Stadium and the London base that they have. That has value for potential buyers from all over the world. They like a prospect of buying a London club, and what that means. So I think the issue that West Ham have in terms of trying to sell is, first of all, loads of teams are for sale, and secondly, I think that only a minority stake is on offer, and a minority stake is clearly less interesting than a majority stake because you just don't have the level of control of the direction of travel and strategic decisions that are made. So I think it'd be hard to sell anywhere near £1 billion valuation, a minority stake. But if it had the control there, then you might be able to justify it being worth £1 billion.
Let's move to West Ham. There's been rumors of a takeover now over the last weeks, months. Could we see Red Bull potentially come back in and look at a full takeover bid at West Ham?
No, I don't think so. I don't think Red Bull are a potential candidate for West Ham at all. I think they've got their hands full with Leeds and their investment in Leeds right now. I think they're a company that, or at least the football side, is an organisation that likes to take its time looking at things and understanding it all. I think Leeds is their bet, and they're going to try and get Leeds up into the Premiership, and I think they would go from there. But I don't see them as being potential takeover candidates.
And Qatar Investment Authority, also rumored as potential takeover partners. Does that one make more sense to you?
That one makes more sense, but I still believe it would probably be an American investor coming in, if anything else. I've got no news on a particular group, but I do think that something could be happening. Just look at the age of the owners right now, and the rather, what could I say? It's not complex shareholder structure, but there's certainly a number of people in that shareholder structure, and I think it'd be best if it was all tidied up. So, look, I think West Ham are an interesting situation because the stadium is always a key, and we've had the Lord Mayor Sadiq Khan in London coming out saying that he wasn't prepared to sell the stadium to West Ham, whereas it would make sense for him if he did. So, look, there's a lot of issues around it. It's not an easy one. Daniel Kretinsky, who came in and bought, I think, about 27% of the club, has not appeared to have moved forward in buying the rest of the shareholders. So it may well be that there needs to be somebody coming in, but I think that will probably come from North America rather than the Middle East.
And we've talked about West Ham's shirt sponsor in the past. Obviously, we know the gambling shirt sponsorships are coming to an end. We've seen the crypto markets go through the roof since Donald Trump's been elected president. Do we expect crypto to become one of these huge sponsors? I know we spoke about AI, another market that's been really, really jumping, but with this huge gain in crypto, there's going to be a lot of money to spend. Do you expect to see them as a big market for these new sponsorship deals? Because so many shirt sponsors are available.
Absolutely. I think I mentioned on the show about a month ago that I thought AI and crypto were going to be the things that would take over from gambling. Although you could say crypto is a funny way of gambling as well. But certainly under the Trump administration, we've seen Bitcoin touching almost up to 100,000. So I mean, it's an incredible number. Trump's been very bullish about crypto, and I think we're going to see a lot more of it. Also with blockchain and with AI, I think those are the two markets that I'd expect to see commercial directors really focusing on going forward. And I do think there is going to be enough funding around. It could be from crypto exchanges, it could be from crypto themselves. There's going to be a need for them to create their own brand and to get a real brand identity. And so football would be perfect in terms of demographic, in terms of doing that. It's football and all sports, NFL, NBA. I think we're going to start seeing a lot of crypto advertising and companies fighting to try and establish themselves. The Trump administration, I think, is going to support that very heavily. And from what I'm hearing already from friends who are close to the Trump transition team, it's going to be like the Wild West in terms of moving those sort of things forward. And so, look, it's going to be a very interesting economic period coming up, and sport can benefit from those areas.
And do you find it interesting that crypto isn't that far removed from gambling in some ways? If I'm, obviously there's some big stark differences, but that they're kind of trying to look at that same demographic. It's almost younger minds that they're trying to invest, for lack of a better term, both in gambling and in crypto. That this market just seems to fit so perfectly for them as a sponsor.
Yeah, as I just said, I think crypto is a form of gaming, or it was. I think, though, regulation is coming in now that's going to try and stop that. I think it was definitely the Wild West when it was all started just a few years ago. But I think regulation and some seriously big players, all the major Wall Street investment banks and banks, are all now very heavily involved in crypto. And although regulation is not the way that normally the Trump administration would go, I think we will see some form of governance to at least light touch to make sure that we don't get into a casino situation with cryptocurrency. But nevertheless, it's going to be fast moving. And as I say, I think it's going to be the cryptocurrencies that can also create some brand identity to get to the smaller investors and the smaller buyers, as well as the big institutions. So that's going to be a fascinating market to watch in the next couple of years.